Let's treat this lesson as a super fast overview of all the things you'll be able to learn in this course. Now, I just want you to be exposed to some of the vocabulary and ideas here. Please don't feel the need to understand any of this right now. The entire rest of this course will be used to cover these concepts in a more approachable way. The mental model that at least I have is that screen flows and Lightning Web Components are both solving the same problem. They're presenting a UI to the user and responding to what the user does. We just use different tools to do that. Now in a screen flow, kind of the central component there is the screen itself, right? In Lightning Web Components, instead of having a screen element, we have HTML. Conceptually, they're the same thing. Of course, in our screen, we want to add different fields, right? Like input fields. With a screen flow, we'll use the Lightning base components, drag and drop those onto the screen that we want to show to the user. When we're building Lightning Web Components and updating our HTML files, we literally pretty much do the same thing. We also create these Lightning inputs. We give them a name, in this case, a label. And that's it. And we can get a couple fields to show up on our Lightning Web Component rather easily, the same way we do with screen flows. When we want to keep track of data in a screen flow to reference it, we create record variables. In Lightning Web Components, we use JavaScript, and we use JavaScript variables to keep track of the data we're referencing. No screen flow is complete without creating records, updating records, or getting records. So let's see how we would do that in Lightning Web Components. Well, if we wanted to create a record with a screen flow, we would use the create records element. We would pass in the name of our object, the name of our fields, and some values for those fields. If we wanted to create a record in Lightning Web Components, we can use the create record function that Salesforce provides to us. In the same way, we would pass in the API name of the object, pass in the list of fields and their values that we want to have created. Instead of using the update records element like we would in a screen flow in Lightning Web Components, we would use the update records function. In the same fashion, we would pass in a ID that represents the record that we want to update, as well as the list of fields and the values for those fields that we want to see updated. And lastly, get records. We wanted to do that in a Lightning Web Component. We would use the get record wire adapter. We'd pass in a record ID. We would pass in a list of fields that we want to have retrieved. And Salesforce's Lightning Web Components would store all of that into a variable for us. In this case, we have a variable called account that it's going to store that into. What I'm getting at again here is if we can figure out how to read this screen flow, surely we can figure out how to read a Lightning Web Component. With Lightning Web Components, there's 3 main files. Each one does a different job. We have a top-level folder that wraps all these files together, and that folder shares the same name as the rest of the files. First up, we have our HTML file that defines the UI. That's where our tags go to actually show something to the user. In our JavaScript, that's where the bulk of our logic is. We use JavaScript to keep track of variables, to handle the state that our screen is in. We use it to capture events. So if a user hits a button, we want to react to it. That would be an event. And behavior, which is, okay, once the user hits a button, what do we actually want the Lightning Web Component to do? And the last mandatory file for a Lightning Web Component is the metadata file. Now this just defines the Lightning Web Component, and it even can control where that component can be referenced in Salesforce, whether that's on a Lightning app page, on an Experience Cloud, etc., etc. Now, again, like I said, this is just a super high overview. The course is going to go into the nitty-gritty details and explain each of these concepts. That's enough theory. Let's get you guys hands-on, and let's actually build some Lightning Web Components together. You'll see that in the next lesson. Good luck. I believe in you, and we are going to bridge these concepts together.